Hello everyone. Today we are going to study fuel cell and hydrogen storage. This is the last topic of this module. In last lecture we studied different hydrogen production methods. Hydrogen production methods of producing hydrogen involve splitting water into its component parts of hydrogen and oxygen. The most common methods are steam reforming of methane, means natural gas. There are also several other methods. Steam reforming converts methane into hydrogen and carbon monoxide by reaction with steam over a nickel catalyst. Electrolysis uses electric current to split water into hydrogen at the cathode and oxygen at anode. Thermolysis uses heat instead of electricity to separate water into hydrogen and oxygen. Then thermochemical water splitting uses chemicals and heat in multiple steps to split water into its components. Then a photoelectrochemical system uses semiconducting materials like photovoltaics to split water using sunlight. Then photobiological systems uses microorganisms to split water using sunlight. Biological systems use microbes to break down a variety of biomass feedstock into hydrogen. Thermal decomposition uses water splitting, which consists of a very high temperature, nearly greater than 700 degrees Celsius, to split water. And last one is gasification. It uses heat to break down biomass or coal into a gas from which pure hydrogen can be generated. So this is about the last lecture, means hydrogen production method. So let us start our today's topic, that is fuel cell. So first of all, what is fuel cell? Fuel cell is a device that generates electricity through an electrochemical reaction. Hydrogen and oxygen are combined to generate electricity, heat and water. Means fuel cell generates electric energy from fuel via electrochemical reaction, and this electricity take place at the electrodes where positively charged hydrogen ions react with oxygen. Then a basic construction of this hydrogen fuel cell, means in short, fuel cell is just like a battery. It has two electrodes where the reaction take place, and the electrolyte that carries the charged particle from one electrode to the other. So it consists of first component is it has two electrodes where a reaction take place. One electrode is a positively charged called as anode, and the other electrode is negatively charged called as cathode. Then electrolyte, it carries the charged particles. Electrodes are sandwiched around and around an electrolyte. It also separates the two electrodes is an ion conducting material which facilitates the free passage of ions. Then catalyst, it is a substance due to chemical reaction take place, and it also a catalyst at the anode separates hydrogen molecules into protons and electrons, which take different paths to the cathode. Then fuel, mostly hydrogen is used, is fed to anode and air is fed to cathode. And the last component is a power supply. A single fuel cell generates nearly 0.7 volt electricity. For a high voltage, many fuel cells are stacked or connected, but actually fuel cells are assembled into series and or parallel combination to produce large amount of current and voltage. As a single cell generate a small amount of electricity, which is of DC electricity. So if we are to convert this DC electricity into AC, then inverter is used. In a fuel cell, an oxidizing agent or oxygen is made to flow through a fuel, means hydrogen. Hydrogen and oxygen combine to form water and generate heat. At the anode, hydrogen is stripped of its electron and its proton is made to pass through the electrolyte. Electron can pass through an external DC circuit to power devices. The electron for enhanced power generation, a series of fuel cells may be used. Purpose of this fuel cell is to produce an electric current that can be directed outside the cell to do work, such as powering an electric motor or illuminating a light bulb or a city bulb. Then the principal construction and working of fuel cell. As the fuel cells works like a battery but do not run down or need recharging, they can produce electricity constantly. Fuel cells have high efficiency than combustion engines. Fuel cells converts chemical energy into electrical energy. The hydrogen is fed into one side of each of the bipolar plates. Hydrogen is passed through the anode and oxygen is passed through cathode. At anode, the hydrogen is split into electrons and protons by the catalyst. The positive particles pass through the membrane while the negative particles cannot pass through it. Membrane means electrolyte. In order to work fuel cells, it needs hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen enters at anode. A chemical reaction strips the hydrogen molecules of their electron and the atoms becomes ionized to form H+. The electron travel through wires to provide a current to do work. Oxygen enters at cathode, usually from the air. Oxygen picks up the electron that have completed the circuit. The oxygen then combines with an ionized hydrogen atoms, means H+, and water is formed as the waste product which exits the fuel cell. The electrolyte allows the appropriate ions to pass between anode and cathode. If other ions were allowed to flow between anode and cathode, chemical reaction within the cell would be disrupted. Ions are transported from one electrode to the other through the electrolyte to combine, while electron travels through the external circuit producing the electrical current. The end product is water, which will form at cathode when the hydrogen and oxygen will combine due to the electrode moving parts. The cells are highly reliable in its operation, which is shown in the figure. This figure shows a fuel cell. Hydrogen enters at anode and oxygen at cathode. The working of this fuel cell involves the passing of hydrogen and oxygen into concentrated solution of sodium hydroxide or via carbon electrodes. The negatively charged electrons provide the current through wires to do work, as the hydrogen atoms are ionized and carry a positive electric charge. If AC is needed, then DC output of fuel cell given to conversion device called as a inverter. Oxygen enters the fuel cell at cathode, and combine with electron. These electrons, oxygen will combine with these electrons from the electrical circuit, and hydrogen ions travel through electrolyte from anode. So hydrogen ions can be travel through this electrolyte from anode. In other cell types, oxygen picks up electrons and travel through the electrolyte to anode, where it combines with hydrogen ions. Means in this case, electrolyte plays a key role. It must permit only the appropriate ions to pass between anode and cathode. Together, then form a water. So in short, this here a working of fuel cell is given here. In short, means at anode, catalyst oxidizes the fuel, usually hydrogen, turning the fuel into positively charged ion and negatively charged electrons. Then electrolyte is a substance specifically designed so ions can pass through it. Electrons cannot. Free electrons travel through wires, creating electric current. Ions travel through the electrolyte to the cathode. Once reaching cathode, ions reunited with electrons react with a third chemical, usually oxygen, and create water or CO2. The reaction rate of this electrochemical reaction is quite low. To overcome this problem, catalyst such as platinum or palladium is used. But in case of fuel cell, as long as fuel cell is supplied hydrogen and oxygen, it will generate electricity chemically. The reactions involved in a fuel cell are shown here. On anode side, oxidation reaction take place. So at anode, hydrogen gives 4H plus 4 electrons, and on cathode side, reduction reaction take place. Means oxygen plus 4 hydrogen plus 4 electrons gives 2H2O. Then here net reaction will be 2H2. This 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. Means from hydrogen and water, oxygen, we have the net or final product H2. So this is a block diagram of fuel cell. It has anode, cathode, electrolyte, and load means power supply. A battery is connected here. So hydrogen is fed to anode, oxygen is fed to cathode. So hydrogen will be ionized, electrons will move from this direction. Then oxygen will combine with electron to give water plus heat, some amount of heat. So the electrons go through an external circuit, creating a flow of electricity. The protons migrate through the electrolyte to the cathode, where they unite with oxygen and the electrons to produce water and heat. Then advantages and disadvantages of hydrogen fuel cell. First we consider advantages of hydrogen fuel cell. Hydrogen is an abundant resource in fuel cells. Fuel cell do not emit harmful emissions. Then hydrogen gas is non-toxic, and It does not produce any harmful byproducts. High efficiency and powerful energy production. Hydrogen fuel cells are highly fuel efficient, and hydrogen is a renewable source of energy. There are some disadvantages of the fuel cell. First one is expensive to construct and maintain. Storage of hydrogen gas is difficult, and compressed hydrogen gas is highly flammable. Then applications of hydrogen fuel cells. It can be used to fuel rockets. Then used for powering residential areas. Used to power cars and airplanes. It is also used as a backup power. They are used as a backup power source when the primary power supply is interrupted. Some backup applications include computer systems, manufacturing facilities, and homes. It is also used for transportation applications, automobiles, buses, utility vehicles, scooters, and bicycles. Then hydrogen storage. For many years, hydrogen has been stored as a compressed gas or cryogenic liquid and transported as such in cylinders, tubes, and cryogenic tanks for use in industry or as propellant in space programs. Hydrogen has nearly 3 times the energy content of gasoline. However, on a volume basis, the situation is reversed. Is a key enabling technology for the advancement of hydrogen and fuel cell technologies in applications including stationary power, portable power, and transportation. Hydrogen can be stored either as a gas or as a liquid. Hydrogen gas storage typically requires the use of high pressure tanks with a pressure 350 to 700 bar, while liquid hydrogen storage requires cryogenic temperatures to prevent it boiling back into a gas. Hydrogen can also be stored on the surface of or within solid materials, which are also called as adsorption or absorption. Hydrogen can be stored in a variety of ways, but for hydrogen to be a competitive fuel for vehicles, hydrogen vehicle must be able to travel a comparable distance to conventional hydrocarbon fuel vehicles. The first method for hydrogen storage is it can be stored as a gas under high pressure. Second one is in liquid form under cryogenic temperatures, and third one is on the surface of or within solid and liquid materials. The interest in using hydrogen for storage of energy in zero emissions vehicles. Hydrogen has very low boiling point. It boils around 20.268 Kelvin. Compressed gas. Hydrogen can be compressed and stored in a gaseous form under high pressures. This requires storage tanks to have pressures of 350 to 700 bar. The compressed gas hydrogen can be physically stored as either a gas or liquid storage. As a gas typically requires high pressure tanks. Storage of hydrogen as a liquid requires cryogenic temperature because the boiling point of hydrogen at 1 atmospheric pressure is minus 252.28 degree Celsius. Then cryogenic liquid storage. Hydrogen can be physically stored cryogenically in a liquid form. Storage as a gas typically requires high pressure tanks. Storage of hydrogen as a liquid requires cryogenic temperatures because the boiling point of hydrogen at 1 atmospheric pressure is minus 252.8 degrees Celsius. Liquid hydrogen has a higher density than gaseous hydrogen. In addition, storage tanks and facilities for cryogenic liquid hydrogen storage must be insulated to prevent evaporation should any heat be carried into the liquid hydrogen due to conduction, convection, or radiation. Despite these challenges, liquid hydrogen is in demand for applications requiring high levels of purity, and it can be found being used in space travel. Then a metal hydride storage system which works by the hydrogen forming an interstitial compound with the elemental metals such as palladium, magnesium, and lanthanum, intermetallic compounds like metals like aluminum or some alloys. These metal hydrides adsorb molecular hydrogen onto their surface and then incorporate them in elemental form into the metallic lattice with heat output. They can be released again with heat output, and these hydrides can absorb large volumes of gas with palladium. For example, this is able to absorb volumes of hydrogen 900 times that of its own. In adsorption, hydrogen is attached to the surface of a material either as hydrogen molecule or as hydrogen atoms. In absorption, hydrogen is dissociated into hydrogen atoms, and then hydrogen atoms are incorporated into the solid lattice framework. Metal hydrides such as MgH2, NaAlH4, then lithium aluminum hydride, etc., ammonia, boron, and palladium hydride represent source of hydrogen, stored hydrogen. Some are easy to fuel liquids at ambient temperature and pressure, whereas others are solids which could be turned into pellets. These materials have good energy density.